right, and we are back. And today we're back with another video by Adam Something. Now, obviously, Adam Something is a great creator. At the last time we did a video from him, it was American malls versus European malls. Great video, loved it. This one is called Modern Cities Suck, but they don't have to. Now, modern, quote unquote. So I will say, I like to see what it's got to say about this. Is he talking about like actual modern cities, or is he talking about like older cities that just so happen to be modern? I'm just saying that based off the quote, the quotations there. But yeah, guys, if you want to know more about whether I put quotations and things for a reason or not, please hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Do all three of those things because they really help out with the YouTube algorithm. The mysterious and wonderful algorithm that we all love. So guys, and also please remember that if you do not like, comment, or subscribe to this channel, YouTube will come in here and they will.
This is where I want to personally apologize for the audio quality within this video. Part of me didn't want to actually put the video up, but actually did like what I was saying in the reaction. I liked the reaction itself, and Adam Something has really good content. I'm not going to re-react to something I've already seen before. So I'm just going to apologize to you guys right now and say I am deeply sorry, but the audio quality is trash. I personally hate it. So I'm just letting you guys know now.
Adam Something, modern cities suck, but they don't have to.
When you visit a city as a tourist, you might notice a pattern in how you move around. Namely, you have some points of interest, some landmarks you want to check out, and in order to get there, you have to trudge through areas that are just whatever. In order to get to the few nice places, you gotta go through the boring, often unpleasant places. This usually manifests itself in a friendly, quiet, human-scale, but very touristy center, which is surrounded by the loud, disappointing, whatever areas, i.e. the rest of the city. But those areas weren't always like that. They too were once friendly, quiet and human scale, just like the touristy center. But while the center was mostly preserved in its original form, the rest of the city was effectively gutted, entombing it in metric tons of concrete and asphalt, leading to areas that are just lame, disappointing, unpleasant, dangerous even, but above all, uninspiring and completely forgettable. If you look at postcard pictures...
Okay. So it's just going off of what I first hear, it sounds like he's going to talk about how like modern infrastructure and like cities are being ruined by things like highways and parking lots that are way too big. Now, obviously, I haven't watched every single one of his videos, but from what I have watched of his, he does like to talk about how big and excessive parking lots and like spaces like that have become, and it makes 100% sense. There are like, I live in America, so I can only really speak on America, and for what my perspective is. This is super subjective here, guys, but like parking lots are huge, and 90% of the time they're not ever being fully utilized. You go to like a Walmart or any other location like that, you're gonna see parking lots, and most of it is going to be so unused that like truckers will use that as like places to sleep at night. That's how unused and like empty that parking spaces can be. But yeah, it definitely ruins when you put the numbers up on how much space that is altogether. That's a lot of land that's just getting ruined and can cause stuff like this. So let's see what it's got to say.
Of different streets and compare them to how they look today, you'll note that back in the day, the areas had character. They looked inviting, vibrant, pleasant, or at the very least, interesting and memorable. Compare those postcard pictures to the current state of affairs. Those interesting areas are now the same dull, bland, unpleasant, whatever places that you just rush through on your way to the few remaining nice places. That's why city centers are so choked with tourists. They all go there because chances are that's the only area worth visiting as a whole. The only area where...
Okay, my one counterpoint would be that even in the time of those older postcards being made, there most likely still were slums and like lower areas that people didn't want to go to, that they just didn't show. And in their, what do they call that, like topography or whatever, like in their blueprint of how they wanted the city to look. They probably also don't show fully, or like don't show like what those current areas are like. They probably show what they're expecting them to be, and especially back then they were probably like just straight up tearing them down, just kicking people out with no places to go, just to like make the city look nicer and be made into postcards. So yeah, I mean that would be my one counterpoint, is that there are probably always bad places in all the most beautiful cities. I don't think even the most beautiful city in history most likely didn't have like a slum that was like adjacent to it.
where you can just be, where you can hang around and have a good time through that alone. Tourists won't spread out across the city because the rest of the city just isn't worth seeing. Here I'm not talking about the few interspersed landmarks, but the sea of uninteresting, unpleasant dullness around them. The lame, disappointing, unpleasant, uninteresting, forgettable, and often dangerous quote-unquote regular areas. Back then it wasn't like that. You could spend weeks, even months, just walking around cities, discovering it bit by bit, observing the locals, getting lost in its urban fabric. Today, why would you? Outside the calm, touristy center, everything is loud, like really loud, the air is polluted, and you're just shimmying along the buildings, dodging parked cars and scooters. If you stop to admire the surroundings, people will think you're trying to break into a car or something. Also, and I can't stress this enough, it's hard to really experience an area, its culture, its architecture, and its people when said area sounds like this. The buildings' facades around you might be nice, but the streets themselves are all the same. Car road, parking lanes, narrow sidewalks. 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 Turning over our streets to cars, in my opinion, has caused an even bigger issue than the geometric lack of human-friendly public spaces. Namely, that we expelled ourselves, our humanity, our spirit if you will, from our cities, which used to be the mortar inside the urban fabric. In such disappointing, unpleasant, uninteresting, forgettable areas, we will rarely find any culture, fun, inspiration, social experiences, no memories will be created, nothing interesting will be happening between the patched asphalt lanes and the rows of parked cars.
So I do understand his point. So pretty much he's saying that like because we have all these cars, we like the convenience of having cars and freeways and things, like being able to travel all around the city makes it so that you're going to travel faster through the city. You're not going to stop and enjoy the city. And in part we've like transformed cities into areas where you can like just speed through. Like you're just speeding through a city, and if there were, let's say we lived in a society where like cars weren't as like prevalent, and you decided to just walk more places, most likely there would be more options. Like they would put something to catch your attention even throughout like the smaller parts of your journey throughout the city. You'd be walking down, there'd be like a bunch of things to to stop you and do, because that's just how money, capitalism works. Like at the end of the day, the only reason that there's businesses on those roads that he was just showing were because those were like main roads. They were places where people were like, oh, let me stop over here and visit this place here and go there. And certain businesses pop up at certain locations for very specific reasons, and they are capitalizing on when where those roads are being built, and they want to be right there to be like center of attention. So when you're driving down that road, you see this Walmart, or why do I keep saying Walmart? I don't even go to Walmart. People are gonna think I go to Walmart all the time based off this video. I don't. So Adam something, thank you for making people think I'll go to Walmart all the time.
This is a form of urban death. Or
But you guys, you caught my concept though, right? You guys know what I meant when I was saying what I was just saying a moment ago. Like, we've kind of given up our ability to like venture and make cities even more pleasant and more filled with life, because we decided to just focus more on like the automobile and making sure we can like get in and out as soon as possible, which is going to make it so there's less beauty within the city, because they're going to focus more on that, on like just like concrete roads and places to park, stuff like that. That, again, you're not going to make something really nice there if it's just a parking lot.
Rather, undeath, where the streets are still there and people still use them, but everyone is just going through the motions. Everyone is just shuffling past, eyes pointed forward, or lost in the screen of their smartphone, trying to push through the area. It's a lifeless imitation of a street, hence the term urban undeath. No longer a place for people, but a traffic thoroughfare to channel people towards the few pleasant places remaining, a few islands in the sea of great dullness. But it doesn't have to be like that. There is a way to bring life back to a
We got a
city by
solution.
deprioritizing
He's got a solution.
the individual motor traffic, cars, in favor of everyone else, as in the silent majority. Not planning everything around cars will result in the traditional, human-centric streets and places compact enough to walk or cycle through. This is how every city was built throughout history, right until the auto industry bought our politicians and hijacked urban planning departments to build cities accommodating their product instead of people living there. But once you end unrestricted individual motor traffic, once you shift your focus to everyone else, the majority, streets, squares, entire districts suddenly come to life. The city will be full of memorable, inspiring, pleasant, calm, human-friendly areas you can simply get lost in a good sense. Where you, as a tourist, no longer just trudge through a sea of forgettable dullness to get to the one nice place. Rather, you're journeying across the city, actually exploring it, getting to know it for yourself.
See, there's gonna be conflicts with that. Like, cars offer too much freedom, and America is like, I don't even know if this will work in Europe. But again, I can really only speak with the America's perspective on this. America loves freedom too much to do something this restrictive. And cars, especially in America, have sold themselves on how much freedom they give you. The whole open road, going across America whenever you want to, movies and things where people just like stop what they're doing and just like drive across the country for no reason. Just the ability to just like, oh, I'm like at work right now, boom, I'm immediately at home. Even the way that America has been built, just as far as like having so many suburbs around major cities, where a lot of people who work downtown don't even live within like, if they had to like walk or take public transportation, it would take them like over an hour to get there, because public transportation isn't set up properly here either. So like, it's like a whole, like, to do this, what he's suggesting, there would have to be like at least probably like 10 to 20 things you'd have to change about the American, like, just like how America is, for this to work properly. But if it did happen, it would be really, like, the benefits would be incredible for some people. For if you live close to the city, life would be incredible for you. And I'm sure it would drive more people to live closer to the cities. If you don't, I don't know. I don't know what to say for you. Yeah, you're still gonna have to have a car. Certain people. This can only work, I guess, like downtown, right? Is that what he's saying?
Compare this street in Barcelona to walking down the streets of Prague. In Barcelona, you're experiencing your urban surroundings. In Prague, you're shimmying past cars on a broken sidewalk. Of course, I'm not saying that we should turn every street into something out of Disneyland, or that every single street will be a bustling cultural hub once the cars are gone. Nor do I advocate for a full ban of motor traffic in cities. After all, essential services, deliveries and craftsmen still need to get to places. But in cities with proper public transit, like Budapest, Prague, Madrid, Barcelona, Paris and so on, 90% of private motor traffic is unnecessary. Period. By unnecessary, I mean the driver chose the car out of convenience instead of an actual, uncompromisable need. This is why I advocate for phasing out unnecessary individual motor traffic from inside our cities, to once again bring life to a hollowed out, empty shell of what once was a vibrant urban fabric, so that our cities will once again be living spaces by the people, for the people, instead of open-air warehouses for the auto industry's various products. Or, to put it in the words of the highest urban planning experts, car bad. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to vote for politicians in your next local elections who care
That's
about
funny.
decongestion and non-motorized transit, who aren't just a bunch of car-centric boomers whose
Oh,
bottoms
wow,
are
who's
60%
this?
Mercedes leather seat via decades of pressure osmosis.
I don't know who that guy was. I feel like I should do research on that. But that guy looked very creepy. I will say that. But yeah, another great video by Adam something. I used to know a guy named Adam when I was young, and I don't know his last name. So in my mind, me and Adam something go way back. But guys, if you like what I was saying there and my reaction to Adam something, then again, drop me that like, drop me a comment, subscribe. But yeah, great video. Again, I feel like some of those things just inherently won't work across the world. In America, again, he did make the specific point that this isn't for every city all across the world. This isn't saying everyone everywhere should just give up their cars. This is more saying like, if you already live in an area that could do this, and he specifically named like France and stuff like that, like that, I guess that would make sense. But even in those places, I still feel like because it's such an individual choice to purchase a car, like people aren't going to want to give up that individual choice just because it's going to make something better for like everyone. Because in that moment, you're thinking more individualistically. The car makes things better for you in the moment. So whether or not giving up the car makes everything better for majority of people, if a majority of people are thinking individualistically, then that plan is still gonna fail, unfortunately. But it is a good idea. I will say that it could work out for some cities. Like if some cities actually, you know, get into the idea of it and people actually, drive home the idea of like, hey, this could be really great for, this really beneficial for like a very specific type of city. I can imagine like, I've never been there, but I imagine like Portland or something being like, this seems like something we could do. You know, it could. I don't think. Maybe like New York. If if since a lot of people don't even have cars there, you probably could do more things like this. But I don't know. Again, it's so much of an individualistic choice. It's hard to say. But yeah, guys. Again, as always, thank you if you've made it this far into the video. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you haven't already, please go to Adam something, like his video, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel, tell him I sent you, and also do the same for me. Subscribe to my channel. Comment on my video and say that Adam something is the reason that you're watching this. I don't know how that works on the opposite way, guys. I'm just a YouTuber. So yeah, as always, bye.